Hello, beautiful. My name is Michelle. I'm from the Netherlands, and I love to share with you um, my introduction to Air Your Own Heart. Um, I love to share my passion about opening up our heart and to really live from our heart. As I said, I live in the Netherlands, and for over 4 decades, I lived in my head and I was out of touch and not in tune with my heart. And therefore, I created a lot of pain, suffering for myself up until now by opening up my heart and to really be in my heart. Um, Amazing things happened, and a lot of um, opportunities were showing up to move through uh, my perceived hurts and suffering and pain, both physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Um, what I love to share with you now is um, information. And even though you know or not know this, I um, love to talk about this as the basis and foundation of the videos on airing our own heart. And our heart chakra is the middle chakra of the seven main chakras. And our heart chakra is um, is connected to the element air, and therefore breathing is essential to open up our heart. And the simple exercise of breathing in love and breathing out love aids us to really reconnect and open our heart. It's very simple, and even if you do it for 3 minutes a day, the benefits when you practice this daily will add up in my experience. And to really be present completely and conscious of our own breathing aids us to really connect with our heart. And our heart is an amplifier. It's, as the Heart Math Institute has shown us scientifically, our heart is magnetically 5,000 times stronger than our brain, um, and electrically 100 times stronger. And that field around our heart is what aids us to create and manifest our lives intentionally, whether we do this consciously or unconsciously. Therefore, to be present and conscious in all awareness is really what aids us to change in this eternal now moment. And breath is key. And also the way we express that through speaking um, signifies how powerful we are and how we have embraced our own power or not. As you can tell from my voice, it's not very powerful up until now, and that is due to my tension for speaking in front of the camera, and it's also due to really connect with my own power and to really be comfortable with my own power. And our heart aids us. Then there is something not scientifically based. It's something that I experienced, and there is spiritual, in the spiritual community literature on that. When we close our heart due to hurts, pain, suffering, and stuff, traumas, then what we are doing is building bands and rings around our heart. And what I did to myself up until now was creating those 7 rings and bands around my heart. And that can be in this lifetime. And since I believe in oneness, so that all our experience are instantaneously and simultaneously happening now, I do not speak about past lives. I simply speak of lives that are occurring in this moment that I have lived or that I am living now. So in that respect, the bands that we forged in those lives can add up. And the breaking of those bands, if you have ever experienced such a thing, that resembles a heart attack. You get sweaty, you feel heart cramps, you feel like dying, and it's something that is not really a heart attack. It's just about a band that is breaking around our heart. And if you are unaware that this can happen, then I would, that's why I love to share this information with you. A lot of bands and rings around my heart have been broken, and that is why I can open my heart more easily, and is accessible for me, which had not been so for many decades up until now. So I also will do an exercise on removing the bands and rings around your heart to really be able to feel the expansion in your chest, and to feel and to be able to breathe more easily. And there is a simple exercise on how to check in with yourself about your breath, and that is simply take a timer and count your in and out breaths as one breath. And when we are not, when we are tense, when we feel in a state of alert, when we are in an alert state, And when we think that something might happen at any time, so that we have to be on guard 24/7, which was the case for me for over 4 decades. That causes a lot of stress inside our bodies. And due to that, our breathing is not very deep, is in our chest. And due to that, our health gets depleted. When we breathe in our chest, instead of with our through our diaphragm, that is called belly breathing also, and that's not a scientific name. It's when we do the belly breathing, I prefer that name, then we can push the lymph fluids through the lymph nodes, and that are the toxins, the waste in our body, to move out of it, out of our body. And when we breathe in our chest, we have not the opportunity to breathe the toxins out of our body. Our heart is a pump, and our blood is pumped through our body with our heart. Our lymph fluids do not have a pump, and that requires abdominal breathing. And for me, conscious abdominal breathing with a smile, that Brian D. Ridgway attached to that, has aided me a lot to really be present and to feel increasingly grounded. And when we breathe consciously, then we are grounded and centered and aligned and present. And in that state, we can relax. And when we do that evenly, smoothly, and the same duration, our in-breath is aligned with our sympathetic nervous system, and our out-breath is aligned with our parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is tied with our fight, flight, freeze response, and the parasympathetic nervous system is about our relaxation. And the quality of our air is also vital. The CO2 is crucial to relax our muscles. And the balance between O2 and CO2 is vital for a harmonious, balanced system. And CO2 aids us with sleeping. When we ruminate at night, as I did, I was afraid of sleeping for more than 4 decades. And only recently I've been able to sleep for hours on end. And that benefit has aided me to be present and to be conscious throughout the day. So breathing is crucial and is also tied with our heart, since our heart is the air element. And that's a very big component in the videos that I will be making. And so then there are some heart activations and to align our heart chakra with our universal heart chakra. And so that aids us to be in tune with the expansive being that we are, and enables us to have an increasing bird view on the way we perceive our world. And that has enabled me to let go of projections and identifications, and has aided me to decrease taking things personally. And when we are taking things personally, our views of the world and ourselves gets limited, and then we are governed by our mind/ego. And in that respect, we dictate our lives by our reactions instead of responding, and being able to respond to what is showing up for us now as our experience. And by letting go of that charge, we enable ourselves and the attachment to the stories we had up until now. We are able to live increasingly joyfully, effortlessly, and naturally, and authentically. The heart is also key in bridging heaven and earth. I believe that our heart is the gateway for source to flow through us and to move out of us. So even though we breathe through our mouths and we breathe the universe in and out, the way we communicate with the universe is through the signals that we are sending out in our magnetic electric field around our heart. These are the things that I love to talk about. It's been a bit less playful. I just love this topic, and it has benefited me, as simply focusing on our heart, our compassion, empathy, vulnerability, and joy and love and peace increases and expands ninefold. So simply on doing heart exercises aids us to show up increasingly self-empowered and authentically, and to really speak our own truth and to stand in our own power. When we have a closed heart, we are living in our head. And when we are living in our head, then we play out a drama triangle. And that is about the victim, the accuser, and the rescuer, and the martyrs, and etc. Then we play out the blame, shame, guilt, resentment game. And then we have then we are mentalizing our emotions, such as feeling abandoned, rejected, etc. So when we are living in our heart, we can access our core emotions, such as anger, fear, and sadness. And ultimately, everything leads to fear. For me, when you look beyond the anger, usually you find fear there, in my experience. And when you look beyond sadness, you usually find fear there as well. So what I have come to understand for myself is that I have always a choice to be an expression of love or to be an expression for love. And to be an expression for love is to play out the victim consciousness, victim mentality, and victim mindset, and playing out the drama triangle. And when we are an expression of love, we are self-empowered, authentic, natural, and we live out our soul codings, in which we can contribute what burns in our heart, and what we are passionate about, and what we love to share with the world as our service to them now. So from my experiences, I thought I love to share with this the challenges that I had up until now was that I have been labeled with a lot of labels, and one of those is complex PTSD, regressive depression, bipolar disorder, light autism, attachment problems, and anxiety disorders, and compulsion disorders. And well, there is a list, only I don't know the English names for those. So I leave it at that. And I had severe migraine attacks every 5 to 6 weeks that crippled me for about 10 days. And at first they were 2 days, and then they grew up to 10 days. And I had challenges with my menstruation, and so that I was either for over 1.5 years that I had a daily menstruation, or that I had no menstruation for 2 years. So and everything in between. And all those things have normalized. And so what I came to understand is whether the problem is physical or mental. This is about frozen emotions that when we thaw them and release them in, we regain our power. And when we regain our power, then we can show up more authentic. And due to the complex PTSD, since I had a lot of triggers, up until now, I had dissociated for about 90% of my life. So even though I have lived a lot of years, a lot of decades, my recall of all those years are limited. And a lot of stuff I have not recalled, only when there is a very strong imprint of the traumas, then those images I have regained again since I have been moving through them, and I've been able to recall them. And all those other memories, I just, when I dissociated, and it was a full body dissociation in the sense that I jumped literally out of my body energetically, and only during the in my time in the trauma center, was I caught in the act, and that sensation to be pulled back in a moment of jumping out was the first moment, conscious moment of what dissociation is really about. I had read about it. I just thought that did not apply to me up until now. And since I was caught in the act several times at the trauma center, I realized, okay, this is dissociation. This is what I'm doing up until now. And that is why I have blanked out time that I did not know where I had been and what I had done. I was on autopilot, and up until now. And so breathing, opening my heart, and doing other stuff such as Brian D. Ridgway has aided me to be fully present. And that is only recently. So that's, I was in the trauma center from 2012 to 2014. And when I did Soul Body Fusion in 2015 to 16, and I was doing that daily, I finally decreased my dissociation so that I was more soul embodied. And that is another aspect, the last aspect. When our soul is not in our body, then it's then the experience we are having are not grounded in this in the material world. So for us to be really present on Earth and to really live our life to the fullest, I've come to experience that soul embodiment is really key in being here now. And when our soul is not in our body, when we jump out and dissociate, then we are lived instead of to truly live. And I choose anytime living, and the quality of life has improved for me greatly. That is a judgment. It's just I feel increasingly alive, joyful, and I feel increasingly at peace with myself, and I feel also opening up to love, and that is really the greatest blessing. I feel very blessed to be able to experience that. Up until the past over 47 years or so, I had been suicidal, and up until now, and the past 2 years, I did not have a daily thought that I did up until now to wanting to kill myself. and truly expressing my own heart and what I'm passionate about and inspired about, has aided me to really value my life, myself, and to be willing to share that value with others from my own experiences, and to enthuse others to self-empower themselves and find their own way, manner, means to be healthy again and vibrant. Well, those are the pillars of what I love to share with you in videos. And if you are interested in looking at that, then be welcome. And the thing is, I believe that the answers of our own health and well-being is inside of us. And this is not about me handing you or forcing you on you tools. This is about an invitation, to see what works for you or not. The thing is, only when we are enthused about a modality, about what is being offered, and when we truly believe that works for us, in my experience, is our key for that really to be implemented in our own lives. And I've done tons of healings, modalities, techniques, and only a few things have remained that had a lasting impact, that that has benefited me in a way that I show up empowered. So by doing this, I hope to give you hope, or to believe and trust in yourself and have faith that you can do the same. Well, for now, it's I think this is the introduction, and if you are willing and enthused to try out what I'm offering, then be welcome in my next video. I love you. Namaste.